Hello guys, it's Tom and Dan from Whole Sport coming to you from our home gym, clinic, whatever you want to call it. Today we're going to be talking you through a few things that you may face during lockdown, one of the biggest problems being maintaining good posture.
Yeah, so guys, going through the different types of posture we're looking at, some of you may experience different types of posture throughout lockdown. One of the main ones we're going to talk through first is the kyphotic posture. So what that is basically a rounding of the shoulders. So it's basically where your spine gets pushed out further backwards like that. So you almost experience like a rounding like that of the upper back, the thoracic spine. The other one that you could experience, which is probably more common if you found yourself sitting down a lot of times, people working sat on sofas, sat on chairs at the desk, is more you're looking at the lordotic spine, but that's in the lumbar region, so the lower, and that's basically where that back gets slightly more arched, and that's where it gets pushed in more, so it's a bit more of a tilt that way, and you see people trying to naturally have a curve in their spine like that.
Yeah, that's commonly associated in the lower back with also sort of a pelvic tilt. So we're going to be going through a few correctional things to help you combat this. A lot of people working from home, you're going to be sat at a computer all day. Even some of you may be attending Zoom calls in bed, stuff like that. So we want to make sure you're actually correcting all these things so you don't come out of lockdown the other side with any more problems.
Yeah. Right guys, so following on from that, we're going into the exercises now about how to do some corrective postural work. So a lot of people misunderstand like concepts and ways to improve your posture. And that usually comes through a range of different things, either weakness in the glutes, tightness in hip flexors. So what we're going to work on is separate different things here. I'm going to focus on more of the stretching elements here. So the first one I want you to do is basically you need to get something. I'm just using a box for now, rules for yards. So put it up against the wall. You can do this up against the sofa. It's known as the couch stretch. So I'll take off my Crocs. And then as I go down here, all you want to do is you're going to have your chest facing forwards, go down to like a kneeling position there. And you're basically going to get that foot as far up to the wall as you can, but keep that knee as close to the wall as you can. From that, you're going to feel a nice intense stretch, almost feeling like it's coming from almost your stomach all the way down your leg. And what I want you to do is you can literally just keep that front heel planted, and I want you to try and keep that nice upright posture there. And then what I want you to do to intense that stretch first, you're going to tense this glute on the side that's bent. Just want you to tense that glute and you're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Good, so once you've done that for 30 seconds, all you're going to do is make that slightly more further. You're going to try and push your knee a bit further over and reach above your hands there. You should feel that stretch get slightly more intense. I want you to hold each angle of that for 30 seconds.
Perfect. Okay, so after doing the initial stretch for your hip flexors, still concerned with the lower back arch, we're going to try and help correct that using some more activation exercises. So personally myself, I do have a bit of a pelvic tilt. So it's an anterior pelvic tilt. So it's coming forward like that, which leaves a curve in the lower back. So what we're going to do to work on that is we're going to first do an activation with the pelvis, and then we're going to progress that into like a glute bridge, for example, and some core activation. So what you're going to do is lying down in glute bridge position. And what I want you to do is from your natural position, you want to be squeezing your pelvis round and squeezing the small of your back onto the floor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few repetitions of this. So I can feel a gap with my hand in the small of my back. I want to squeeze the small of my back down to the ground and exhale. And what that's doing is that's bringing my pelvis round so that my back is flat on the ground, and that is activating my core, which is in turn going to help me with my posture when I'm stood up. Okay, so we'll go through 6 reps of this, 5 seconds hold. And relax, and do that 6 times. Okay, so next up, we're going to progress into a glute bridge. So it's really important to use that exercise we've just done with the pelvic tilt, as it engages your core and it makes sure your pelvis is tilted correctly and neutral. So we're going to first go down into that. So I'm taking the small of my back down onto the floor, and then I'm engaging my glutes, pushing through my heels and up. Hold for 1 second at the top and then lower back down. So small of my back down, pelvis tilt and up, using the glutes. Okay, you're going to go through 3 sets of about 12 reps on this.
Right guys, so next we're going to talk about foam rollers. So leading on from what we carried on with there, so we're going to talk about the use of foam rollers and also like basically when to use them and what you can actually use them for. But sticking with basically the spine today, we're going to go through why we're going to use these. We have a slightly firmer one, a harder one here with more bobbles on it that actually is more rugged. It's the plastic, so it's less likely. And we have actually also the foam roller, like just the natural foam roller, the one you're more commonly going to see. Both have their own uses and both are good for what they need. But in personal preference for this one, especially as well, we're just going to stick with this foam roller today. So with the foam one, a common misconception is that you cannot roll your back at all. That is a big misconception because you can, and in fact you should be rolling your upper back in terms of your thoracic spine. What this allows to do is increases your thoracic mobility. So in terms of you're trying to get your arms overhead, trying to get them further back, especially if you're an Olympic weightlifter or like doing overhead pressing, it's always really good to improve your thoracic posture and your thoracic spine mobility. So going into it, I know this is a slightly smaller one, you may see ones that are much bigger as well, but just going down to the floor, you're just going to place it on the floor like that. And what you want to do is similar to what we've done already, into that almost like glute bridge tuck position. I just want you to cross your arms. All you're going to do is allow yourself to roll down. You want it just about where the edge of your scapula is, so on your shoulder plane there, so just below the neck. And what we're going to do with that is you're going to put pressure on it. You're going to put your feet into that glute bridge position. You're going to do that pelvic tilt that Tom talks about, and we're just going to bridge up and we're going to hold it and we're just going to roll slowly back to about halfway down your back. And then I want you to roll back again. And we're just going to go through that sort of 10, 12 times. You can do it as many as you want, but just for this exercise, we're going to do it a few like that. Then next thing you can do to intensify that and to progress it on is you can take your arms above your head and you can roll down a bit further. All that's going to do is slowly increase that mobility of those shoulders. You're going to keep going. That's it. And then feel free to cross them again. And then you can actually, in fact, you can actually roll more to one side as well if you feel like you're not getting enough out of one side. So as you roll, so bridge up, tilt that pelvis back, and you can lean more to one side to get more intense on that side.